I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
The harder I want to hit you.
I'm happy because of being here today. Fuck you.
Marty, you want me to drive? You're supposed to be suicidal, remember? I'll
Anybody
drive.
a drive?
Get in the car.
Fucking shit. Fuck me in the fucking ass. Fuck you, you fucking stupid cunt.
Hey everyone, it's Donji Corleone here, and I am here in 2026 with a brand new movie review. And before I get started on this movie review, I want to show you guys a little new something. Yeah, you guys see this TV? It's notice how it's not the one you're familiar with. Yeah. I got given a new TV as one of my Christmas presents, so yeah. What I plan to do with that old one that you remember seeing, I think I'm going to sell that old one, and yeah, this is the new TV you see now. So if I do a gaming video, it's going to be on that TV, and it's going to be better quality this time. Because it's like the 2020 TV, yeah, it's like really great surround sound. Like, I've been watching my Blu-rays on my PS4 in there. I haven't really used the living room to watch my Blu-rays because I've been so busy having fun with this TV right now at the moment. So, yeah, been having a lot of fun with that TV. But anyway, so I'm here to kick off 2026 with our first movie review of 2026. Well, and yeah, now you saw my post about the Stranger Things 5 finale. I am thinking about doing a review for the finale. As much as I don't really review TV shows, I'll make an exception with the finale of Stranger Things, Gotta give my thoughts on that. But you guys are kind of already familiar with my thoughts on the other seasons. But, I will do a review of the finale. I'm still kind of thinking about it right now, but what we are reviewing is going to be for 2026's 2025's. This came out Christmas Day around the time 2025 was ending. Marty Supreme, and it's the other Safdie brother directed film. This one's directed by Josh Safdie. While his brother Benny Safdie had directed The Smashing Machine, he was at A24 as well, working on this movie. So, what's the plot of Marty Supreme? So, Marty Mauser, a young man with a dream no one respects, goes to hell and back in pursuit of greatness in ping pong. So, yeah. Now, as for my reaction to Marty Supreme, it was the other Safdie brothers film he did while Benny was doing Smashing Machine at A24, like this movie too. And of course, this is the next film starring the man for Doom, Timothée Chalamet, who I actually do like Timothée Chalamet as an actor. Yeah. Like, I like him in the Dune films. I liked him in that Bob Dylan film. I actually liked him in Wonka, so I wanted to check this out to kick off 2026. So, how was this movie? Well, I sadly already did the best movies of 2025 video and don't really want to remake it, because that would be kind of pointless if I did. The work's already done, and those videos are always a lot of hell to make, but I would probably call this the best movie of 2025 if I hadn't, and well, also because it kind of came out around the time 2025 was ending, and I'm busy celebrating Christmas, seeing family. That stuff's a little more important than reviews. But holidays are coming to an end, and now time to get back into reviews. Starting off the year with this. If this had came out a little earlier, I probably would have called this the best movie of the year. Definitely. I think it's personally the best film of 2025, and of the films that are probably going to be nominated for Best Picture at the Oscars this up in a few months. I hope that this wins Best Picture, but sadly I don't think it will. they'll, the Oscars, usually they'll pick a movie I've never really heard of, or a film I think is overrated as hell. There's been some exceptions this decade that have deserved it, like Everything Everywhere All at Once, that did deserve it. Oppenheimer, I'm glad that won Best Picture. I mean, I kind of wish Sharon Claw got nominated and kind of won Best Picture. Kind of after seeing that film, I kind of wish that movie got nominated for Best Picture and kind of won Best Picture a little bit more, to be honest. I think that should have got it more because the Iron Claw, as great of a movie Oppenheimer is, the Iron Claw is a film that really sticks with you after seeing it. Like, it really captures your emotions well. It makes you feel emotion. Hence why I kind of think the Iron Claw should have won instead. If it had been nominated, that it was. But sadly it didn't, and apparently Barbie got nominated instead. And while last year a film called Amelia, I have not watched it, I can't comment on it, won Best Picture. But I can't say anything about Amelia because I never saw it. But at least Emilia Perez didn't win. Let's just be grateful about that. At least Emilia Perez didn't win Best Picture, at the very least. So at least that's kind of a relief. But it still won some awards, and I don't know why. But in this movie, a part of me wants this to win Best Picture, but it likely won't, unfortunately. But it seems like a film called One Battle After Another is going to probably get nominated for Best Picture, and I wouldn't be surprised if it probably wins. And from everything I've heard of that film, it just looks laughable. But this movie, I really liked this movie. Like, I really liked it. How was this film made? So, Josh Safdie's interest in table tennis began in his youth. As his grandparents often had eccentric Jewish immigrants, side characters playing the sport at their house. Then in 2018, Safdie's wife and producer of the film, Sarah Rosane, brought a copy of tennis players Marty Brisbane's 1974, The Money Player, thinking Safdie would enjoy it. And so, Safdie was in conversations with Timothy Chalamet at the time. They had recently become friends and presented the project of physical similarities to the actor. And Chalamet accepted the role and started taking table tennis lessons that same year. And Chalamet named Robert Rossins The Hustler and Martin Scorsese's A Color Money as references for the film. And it was around December 2023 when Wonka was coming out. Chalamet said the next film would involve table tennis. And July 2024 a year and a half ago now, the project was confirmed as Marty Supreme to be directed by Safdie, his first solo project without his brother Benny since The Pleasure of Being Robbed in 2008. Benny Safdie was busy directing The Smashing Machine, which I also liked. Not as much as this, but I liked. Safdie and Ronald Bronstein wrote the script based on Raisman's life, through sources close to production, and the story was a fictionalized original, not really much of a biopic, and wrote backstories for every person that appeared in the film. Then after the film was officially shot and completed, it premiered at the New York Film Festival on October 6, 2025, and will be released in the United States by A24 on Christmas Day, about a week ago. And it's gotten critical acclaim, with praise for the direction, the screenplay, the editing, score, and Chalamet's performance, and got described as career best and career defining. The film was named one of the top 10 films of 2025 by the National Board Review and the American Film Institute. It got 3 nominations at the 83rd Golden Globe Awards: Best Picture, Music or Comedy, Best Actor for Chalamet, Best Screenplay for Safdie and Bronstein. Alright people, here are the good qualities in the story of Marty Supreme, and what makes it such a great film of 2025 and such a masterpiece to close out 2025 and get us into 2026. Marty Supreme is a fantastic piece of filmmaking by director Josh Safdie. Josh Safdie is a filmmaker that I really have liked a lot of his movies. Good Time I've liked, but I don't think I liked Good Time as much as I did Uncut Gems. Uncut Gems is definitely another best film from A24, and to me, Adam Sandler's best performance, honestly. And like ever since that film, Sandler kind of had a career rebounce. He's had a few other good projects he's been in. Well, also he did unfortunately do that shitty Happy Gilmore sequel the same year as this, but ever since that movie, Adam Sandler had a bit of a career resurgence after that. Has actually gotten a little bit back on track ever since Uncut Gems. But yeah, Uncut Gems is one of A24's best films. That's another film I really like. And it's pretty much the first time I've seen him direct a movie on his own without Benny Safdie, because his brother was doing another project A24 at the same time. He knocked it out of the park with this film. Josh Safdie's direction and sharp, quick storytelling abilities are on full display here. Like, there's a lot of reasons why I love this movie so much, and to me it stands as the best film of 2025. For a movie based on a guy who played ping pong, now, ping pong I've never really cared too much about, really, just not my kind of sport. But Josh Safdie did a phenomenal job crafting one of the best stories of that year. It also said Timothy Chalamet easily, probably to me, I like his performance as Paul in Dune, but to me personally, I think personally his best performance of his career is Marty Mauser. Yeah, Marty Mauser kind of comes off as a cocky jackass when you meet him. He doesn't really care about anything but himself or to be good at ping pong, but somehow this movie, though, does manage to make you root for this asshole guy. You know, he's an asshole. You still kind of want to see him become a good person and trying to achieve his goal in life. You know, think about Will Smith's character in Shark Tale Oscar. You remember how insufferable that character was? Who only cared about himself, cared about being famous, took everybody for granted, and got lazily forced half-assed redemption, got easily forgiven for his asshole behavior. Well, think of that as this character, Marty, except if he was actually well written, if he actually had character development, actually realized his actions, actually developed better as a character, that'd be this movie. You know why they couldn't write Oscar like this? Was it that hard? Like, this is how they should have wrote Oscar in that shitty DreamWorks film in the first place. And also, Gwyneth Paltrow, also, despite the little screen time she has great as Kay Stone, who's also a bit of a jackass, except she's a lot worse, but is still captivating as a character, and kind of want to see her change and see theirs in her ways in her relationship with Marty. And I love the insane direction that Josh Safdie takes in this film. The story's a little messy because of all the moving parts, but there's many amazing things that makes it up personally. Timothy Chalamet really delivers his best performance. Like, it's not even close. Like, ever since, like, I first saw him in Dune, like, he's had a lot of growth in his career and in his film with this character. And it's interesting to really see this character get himself into situations. And the rest of the cast is great as well. And there's so many great performances in this film by a lot of the cast. And, like, I really found myself to be in awe of this film because of the emotional swings you go through, the anxiety, many other things you feel when watching the film. It's got incredible writing, there's insane moments, and it leaves you shocked with what's happening in this film. And I think the cinematography is top-notch here. Nowadays, some people will say, I dislike every single movie that comes out. I dislike any movie that's not mindless entertainment, or whatever stuff. No. There are actually a few independent films I like. Quite a few of them, actually, and this is one of them. So, how do we start the film? So, we start off, it's set in 1952, and we first meet Marty Mauser, who's working as a shoe salesman, and competing professionally as a table tennis player, and for a while, he's actually kind of, somewhat pretty decent with his customers at the very least, because when he kind of gets called somewhere by his girlfriend in the film, like, he actually assigns another worker to assist a customer he's currently on. And he wants to win the British Open, defeat defending champion Bella Kletsky to bring American attention for the sport. Marty wants to acquire $700 for his trip from his uncle and employer Murray, but he gets denied access to a safe by his coworker Lloyd. And Lloyd eventually allows Marty to take the money and stages the transaction as a robbery so not to anger Murray. So Marty gets to London and he meets Gwyneth Paltrow's character Kay Stone, whom he seduces, and makes his acquaintance of her husband Milton Rockwell, who's a rich businessman. And then when he gets to the semifinals, he beats Kletsky, but gets defeated by Koto Endo, who's a Japanese player. And then Rockwell offers him the opportunity to play in a match against Endo in Tokyo in the upcoming World Championships, but Marty, though, refuses because he has to pretty much throw the match to appease Japanese audiences. And then, of course, Marty and Kletsky then travel the world as an act for Globetrotters, and then Marty and his friend want to launch a line of orange ping pong balls. And pretty much this is how our film is kind of starting off. You're kind of knowing about Marty's life. You're knowing that Marty's kind of not really a good person. He's kind of a scumbag a lot of times in the film. Like, he's not really a great character. He's not really a great person, per se, in this movie. Like, he makes a lot of bad decisions and some really selfish choices. But It's kind of the thing with the Safdie brothers. The Safdie brothers can write asshole protagonists, except they can actually make them actually ones you can actually root for and not want to be insufferably annoyed with the entire time they're on screen. Like Adam Sandler's character is Adam Sandler's character is a moronic jackass and Uncut Gems, and you actually root for him too. Like even his character makes such selfish decisions. Like whenever he has the money, he keeps betting anyway, to the point where his gambling addiction gets so out of hand and gets him in so much worse shit the entire film. And to the point when he does finally win something, he ends up getting shot by the mafia people he kept pissing off throughout the entire film. The mafia people were working for his brother. He was owing money to his brother, and his brother was happy. And to be fair, his brother never actually wanted Sandler's character to be killed, but it's when the one of the people he was with who was working for him instead decided to take matters in his own hands and shoot him just around the time Howard was finally at the happiest moment of his life. That's when his brother realized the gig was really up. He got his brother killed, tried to escape, but then he got shot too. But this movie doesn't end. All I will say is this movie does not end like that. But here, Marty Supreme is a movie that did feel special for 2025. One of those nostalgic films that you're going to watch and still cherish. Like, the 80s style soundtrack and score may hinder it because, it's set in the 1950s, but something, the 80s soundtrack, despite for a film that's set in the 50s, which would be kind of ironic for it to have an 80s soundtrack, it actually kind of works perfectly with the film. They have a lot of great 80s songs in here, actually, and the cinematography is beautiful. And it does look like it takes place in the 50s because of all the costuming, the set pieces. Every actor that appears on screen does a fantastic job in this film. Honestly, Timothée Chalamet is becoming one of the best actors of this decade, and it really shows well with his performance. It really shows a captivating, intense story that really keeps you on the edge the entire way through. And unlike a lot of actors that aren't as talented as some a lot of people make them out to be, who keep appearing in nearly every single movie nowadays. Example, Pedro Pascal, for one of them. Timothée Chalamet, though, is definitely an actor who appears in a lot of stuff nowadays I can actually deal with, because Timothée Chalamet actually is a good actor. A really great actor who actually makes a lot of great projects. And that's a lot of films he does appear in. He doesn't appear in nearly every single film nowadays. It really shows a captivating and intense story that keeps you on the edge the entire way through. It makes you feel uncomfortable in a way a film such as this should, but it really elevates Marty Supreme as a commitment to character. Marty's not this archetype or gimmick. He's messy, he's driven, he's magnetic. It's a protagonist you don't really look away from, even when you don't really like any of the actions he really does and the people he puts in danger with his decisions. The performances do really feel locked in, and balances the intensity with some humor that really feels effortless, and it clearly isn't. And the movie is electric, and the pacing snaps, the editing has personality, and the direction oozes swagger without tipping to indulgence, and it's precise and bold, chaotic and controlled. Then Marty Supreme really nails all that difficult balance really well. So, when Marty returns to New York, it turns out Murray was aware of the robbery and sent cops to his house, and he gets arrested. And whenever Murray tries to have a release, Marty gets more and more cocky, keeps getting almost rearrested, but he manages to escape. And when he does escape, he discovers that his girlfriend from the beginning of the film is actually now pregnant from their earlier affair, but Marty denies the child could even be his, and so he stays at this hotel with his taxi driver friend of his named Wally, and Marty learns that he got banned from the upcoming World Championship until he pays that $1,500 fine. In the bathtub, eventually you get this ironically kind of goofy bit when Marty is sitting in this bathtub, and because the floor is so weak, it collapses through the floor to the room of this guy named Ezra Mishkin, crushes his arm, and pretty much the owner of a dog named Moses. And pretty much Mishkin offers to pay Marty to take Moses to a veterinarian while he's in the hospital. And Marty takes the money, but he basically does make one of the selfish decisions. Instead of taking Moses to the vet, he basically hustles at a bowling alley in New Jersey with these other ping pong players. And of course, these ping pong players are not happy that their money was hustled. And they come back and try to kill him and Wally, but they lose Moses in the process, and Wally's cab gets damaged while they escape. And meanwhile, when it gets back to the character of Kay, Gwyneth Paltrow's character, Rockwell finances the play so like Kay's acting comeback can be supported, and well, Marty kind of does cheat on his girlfriend by having another sex with Kay after rehearsal, and Marty discreetly unclasps her necklace and tries to sell it at a pawn shop, but it's not real jewelry, it's costume. And then Rachel comes in with the black eye. It turns out her abusive husband had actually been beating her. And Marty decides to let her stay with her friend, though her friend doesn't want her staying because apparently his parents are gone and they don't want people over. But eventually they do persuade Dion to change his mind and let her stay. Then Marty and Rachel try to retrieve Moses so that Michigan will pay them a hefty reward, but it turns out Moses got taken in by this farmer who thinks they're like on his property and threatens him with a gun. And they damage Dion's father's car and he escape. And when they learn about this, Dion throws both of them out. Especially after his dad got awoke by their arguing. And then of course, like during this bit, Marty finds out that Rachel faked her black eye to basically escape. And he pretty much is angry by this and kicks her out. But then Rachel ends up actually growing a bit of a backbone and goes and stands up to Ira and pretty much finally dumps him. Right there. So it actually still does pick up a middle act right there. And you see it, and by the time the middle act happens, you do see a somewhat more likable-ish side of Marty when he's actually decides to still willing to help Rachel, and he's obviously against Dion trying to kick her out because she's about to give birth and will likely die on the sidewalk without any proper help. And of course, and to be fair, I kind of don't blame him for being angry that Rachel faked her black eye. In a way, and kind of almost wasted his time a little bit. Like, I don't really blame him for that. And like, this is where he does start to become somewhat of a better person. Like, well, maybe not 100% because he technically still does have an affair with Gwyneth Paltrow's character. But this film does well in exploring how far arrogance can take someone, just how much it can drive a person. And it's like really motivating, not because of the character's flaws, but because of the mindset. It doesn't let anything stand in the way of what you want, and there's something powerful about that. And I like seeing the story told through the eyes of a protagonist who's not really always trying to be a good person, and actually can be somewhat of a bit of an asshole, you know? Right here, if it's done like this movie, then I can. If it's not written well, and the protagonist is just no enjoyable qualities, then it's not enjoyable. Right there. It's one of the few times when a movie like that is not exhausting. It's nice. It's kind of nice to see a shift in who we're supposed to really root for. You don't really know who you can root for, because not everybody's a good person in this film, but I appreciate the change on the big screen here. I like how the Safdie brothers do that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's like, honestly, whenever you're writing an asshole protagonist, I feel the Safdie brothers are the few people who actually get it right. Because here's the thing. Benny Safdie also directed The Smashing Machine, like I've already said. And The Rock's character in that movie, yeah, Rock gives a good performance, but there was times when his character also was kind of an asshole. In that film, too. But mostly it was whenever he had any scenes with Emily Blunt's character. At times, like whenever they argued. And there was times his character would kind of come off as a bit ungrateful. But at the same time, he was a character you also could like. It's like the Safdie brothers actually know how to write asshole lead characters properly and actually make them rootable. Not where you just want the villains to win. A lot of times, like a lot of filmmakers don't know how to do. Like, honestly, these guys should be the people writing asshole characters at this point because they actually do a good job at it. They actually take the effort to actually still make them actually likable people. Like, and the ending wasn't predictable in the usual sense. It's about winning a championship and achieving some grand victory, and it's about really proving yourself to the world. Where, like with Marty here did. He pretty much gives up everything to show people that he's good at what he did, and it meant something. Otis and Gwyneth also have the other two best performances in the film, outside of Timothy Chalamet's performance. Like, there's this one scene when Rachel has this hard conversation with Marty after it has not seen for months, and the range Rachel shows really does draw into the character's feelings and the relationship with this guy. And, you know, despite some of the shady things Marty does, him and Rachel do have a good relationship on screen together. And Kevin O'Leary and Tyler, like, they're also great and funny in this movie. And so, Marty goes to Kay's play opening night when it's finally on. He apologizes for the time he stole her necklace. And of course, she gives him this expensive Netflix, despite seeing through the insincerity of the apology to pay for his fine travel. So she does one like decent little, kind of like and also does have a little bit of a decent side to her. So eventually, the two have sex in Central Park, and then some policemen try to arrest them for public indecency, but they use the necklace as a bribe. And Marty goes for another necklace, and so Kay relents and has him wait outside the building when she goes to an after party thrown her on her. But unfortunately, a negative review has now messed with her performance in the play, and so she breaks down over that. And Marty goes looking for her, trying to get that necklace. He sees her breaking down, decides not to go through with getting another necklace, and decides to just kind of leave her be, knowing that she's already going through a rough time with a negative review. And pretty much, when he's entered the party, he begs Rockwell to reconsider the offer, and on the condition that he has to subject himself to a public patting in front of the guests, which he does. And this was kind of a weird moment, I'll say. Like, it kind of felt a little random that apparently this way is apparently for him to get a public spanking in front of an entire party. Like, it's impossible, though, to predict where this film takes you next. And that's what makes it exhilarating. It's the game of ping pong itself. It takes an expert's eye to keep the track of the ball, and all spectacles a rush to the circulatory system. It's right there, like, at the same time, like, while it may get some nominations, it might not win major awards, but it doesn't feel like it's trying to be an awards film. The performances are incredible, and it is a nice little dark comedy movie. It's also a drama. It's a sports semi-biopic because Marty was a real person. It's got a 50s movie with some 80s music choices. It's a lot of things. Its core, it's still hilarious. It's crazy. It's heart-pumping. It is emotional at times, like at the ending. While some people would reasonably probably not like this movie. And, you know, because Marty's not really a great protagonist per se, I wouldn't really blame them if it was that reason. But honestly, I think I like they wrote it that way. And of course also the 2.5 hour runtime though. But honestly, the movie didn't really feel that long. And honestly, it kind of felt like it was kind of paced a little well. Honestly, it didn't really try to hog up. It wasn't trying to be Lawrence of Arabia. It actually was a really well-paced 150-minute long film. Right there. And like, you see, like, there's times when a film like this could actually be great, you know? There are a few films like this that I actually do like, you know? And it's sad this likely won't win Best Picture. Because I think this, of the films that have come out this year, I think this is the film that I kind of wish would win Best Picture, or at least win Best Picture at the Golden Globes right now. They haven't announced the Oscar nominations yet, but I hope this at least gets nominated at the Oscars for Best Picture. Sadly, it won't win, but a part of me would be happy if it did. You know? So now we get on with the finale of the movie. So Marty's about to leave for Tokyo, but Marty and Rachel get kidnapped by Mishkin and pretty much for a while, like, at first Rachel tries to get the owners of the dog arrested, but they fell onto that and realized that the dog that they were presented was not theirs. So they're both kidnapped, and they're forced to guide him to his dog's location, where the farmer is. And so the men then startle the farmer. He shoots one of them dead and wounds the driver. Mishkin goes in a gunfight and shoots and kills the farmer, and then gets shot in the back in response. And Marty takes Mishkin's wallet and sees a few nude photos of other girls. Likely some girls he was targeting as well. Like, probably some other clients' family members he was probably targeting or something. I think it was those. Where he's trying to get money out of that wallet. And he leaves Mishkin to bleed to death. So Mishkin's now out of the picture. And Rachel goes into labor. So Marty takes her to the hospital before he goes off to Tokyo. So at his match in Endo, he gets then told that he's not going to be competing in the championship. So he loses a promotional match as planned. but then announces that it got staged and convinces the crowd and Endo to a proper rematch. And Marty, after a few bit of a struggle against Endo, he does narrowly win and he claps in relief. And I really bought the emotion on Marty's face. Like, he knows he's not going to go to the championships, but at the same time, he's glad he proved the world. He kind of like proved the crowd and won the crowd with his narrow win. And he congratulates Endo, says good game, like hugs him like a sign, like good game, and wishes him luck in the championships. So he actually has a good sport here, and it shows he's kind of started to better develop as a character. Right there by this point. After making some asshole decisions, he's finally proves a character. He accepts that he's not going to be going to the championships, and is just glad that he at least managed to prove the world that he, to kind of like prove the world wrong about him. Now, she won a few people's attention, and then he gets a military flight back to New York, and he goes to see Rachel at the ward. And after that, he sees like Rachel has been moved to a different part of the ward. And when he pretty much goes to see his newborn son. And this is the last shot of the film. I really like this part of the film. This part of the film, like, when he sees the newborn son, the newborn son then stops crying when he sees him. And then he starts breaking down tears. And then, of course, the song, Everybody Wants to Rule the World, pretty much plays end the film and in the credits. And there's another great acted scene from Timothy Chalamet in this film is that when you buy the emotion on his face after all the hell he's been through and realizing that the baby is his son, like now he can finally like kind of like have a actually better life with Rachel. Like he's finally kind of learned his lesson. He's finally now changed the character and he can finally raise his son. And you really buy the performance and you really buy the emotion on his face in that bit. I thought that was a nice last shot to end the film. But that's how Marty Supreme ends. Like, Marty lost his chance of becoming a champion, but he does manage to beat the reigning champion Endo in a match and proves that he achieved greatness and genuinely afterwards and respect to Endo unlike earlier. And he hopes Endo wins the world championship. And I like that Marty finally became a good sport, became a much better person now. He goes back to New York with his friends. A family like wanting nothing to do with him, though, because of his actions. But Rachel then reaches out to him with a baby that seems to be his and the sight of his baby. He then begins to weep and is wondering if he's going to raise it. But from my point of view, I'm sure he probably will. He'll probably raise it. Maybe he will. I'm sure he will because it seems like he could kind of learn his lesson. He kind of learned from his actions. And they're like, his efforts to make table tennis a little more popular did fall flat, but the sport is still pretty well popular in the US, though. So, it was not a total bad ending. I thought it was a nice little way to end the movie. Right there. Like, it was kind of a reasonable place for this film to end. While Marty did change, like, he still did make a lot of bad decisions that would reasonably cost him his goals. But it's not like a 100% nihilistic downer ending. Like, at least he's not turned to regress into a loser at the end of the film. At least he achieves some kind of stuff, you know. At least he still achieves some success, and at least he still gets character development. Now, do I have any bad qualities of the film? Alright, sure. Some people are probably not going to like the film because how unlikable Marty can be at times, but that's kind of what made him so engaging. He was kind of a love-to-hate character at times. Like, Timothy Chalamet gave a performance that really pulls you in and making you actively dislike him at the same time. Now, ironically, while there's times I didn't like Marty, there's also times I still find myself rooting for him in this movie. And the push and pull really adds to tension and keeps the story compelling, and it gets elevated by sharp editing choices and top-notch pacing throughout the film. Right there, and then again, and also once again, it's the Safdie brothers. The Safdie brothers are known for writing asshole protagonists. It's kind of their style, really. Like, their main characters are never really great people. There's like this whole subplot with this dog that really doesn't add much to the plot. I really think you could have taken out the dog bit because it didn't really have a connection to the plot at all, but that would probably be it for me. If you liked Uncut Gems, I highly would recommend checking this film out. It's really got the anxiety-inducing tension, and there's plenty of laugh-out moments as well. Like, Marty Supreme actually is a definitely phenomenal film and definitely one of A24's best. So in the end, Marty Supreme is worth buying if you're a huge Safdie Brothers fan. and want to see Josh Safdie do more anxiety-inducing works of film that really wow you away with this movie, and well, also to kind of kick off 2026. Anyways, so that's it for my review of Marty Supreme, and we're going to rate Marty Supreme. Here's how I'm going to rate this movie. So overall, if you want to see a movie that makes you remember Marty and love the Safdies, that would definitely watch it by Marty Supreme for a collection for sure, no doubt. If we're going to rate Marty Supreme, I'm going to give Marty Supreme a damn 10 out of 10. Alright, there we go, guys. That officially wraps up my review for Marty Supreme. Now I want to know in the comments down below what you guys think, who have seen the film, think about Marty Supreme. And, well, how do you think 2026 is going to go for you guys this year? What are you hoping 2026 happens in 2026 for you guys? Since we're now on the first day of 2026. And until then, guys, that will be it for this review. Thank you all for watching. If you like this and want to see more, don't forget to subscribe to Don G. Corleone.